I'm Matthew Funaiole, Senior Fellow for Data Analysis at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. And this is Data Unpacked, where we use data to break down key policy issues. The January 6th attack on the Capitol refocused attention on the threat posed by domestic terrorism. And new research by CSIS shows that the events of January 6th were part of a broader and troubling trend. Over the last 2 decades, terrorist plots and attacks in the United States have been on the rise, but those behind the violence have shifted away from religious extremists to those with domestic political grievances. White supremacists, extremist militia members, and other violent far-right extremists were responsible for 66% of the attacks and plots in the United States in 2020. Anarchists, anti-fascists, and other violent far-left extremists perpetuated another 23%. And there's growing concern about the role of military and law enforcement personnel within these groups. Last year, active duty and reserve military personnel were involved in 6.4% of all attacks and plots. That's up from 1.5% in 2019 and 0 in 2018. So what's most concerning about this emerging trend? Here's Seth Jones, Senior Vice President and Director of the International Security Program at CSIS.
Although the number of military personnel involved in domestic terrorism represents only a fraction of all active duty and reserve personnel in the country, they can play an outsized role. In large part, this is because military and law enforcement personnel possess specialized training, including in small unit tactics, communications, and surveillance. They may also have access to weapons and explosives. And while active duty personnel can be charged under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, reservists cannot when they are off duty. There are even fewer options for disciplining veterans, which have been involved in 10% of all domestic terrorist attacks and plots since 2015. But importantly, the U.S. government, the military, and law enforcement are also increasingly targeted by domestic extremists, including in 38% of all domestic terrorist attacks in 2020. As the U.S. military continues its efforts to disrupt extremism, it must address it in all stages of service. Government agencies must also better understand the scope of this problem through better data collection and analysis.
To learn more about what the U.S. should do to combat domestic terrorism, visit the Transnational Threats Project at csis.org. And stay tuned for future episodes of Data Unpacked.